Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Tanner's Favorite Things. I am Tanner Knight, and today we have an unboxing for you. So similar to probably the last one, I don't know which order I'll release these, but the last one that I did was an unboxing of some speakers. And this week we have something very similar. Now before we dig into this, I will tell you that this is the heaviest speaker box that I've ever picked up of just one single 12-inch guitar driver. So, what's in the box? We have some paperwork and a nice packaging. This is a really nice packaging. Let's go ahead and reveal the big dog, the Electro-Voice EVM12S speaker. So this is an OEM version of this speaker, I believe, which is why it doesn't have the whole recognizable branding on the back. But you can tell by the cage and the heft that this is in fact Electro-Voice EVM12S speaker. And I think most people are familiar with the EVM12L, but this is the 12S series. And it's very similar to that. This one is from the 36th week of 1990, according to this date code right here, 1990 36th week. And they were often used in Mesa Boogies, Rivera's, boutique, high-end amplifier and combos units. This one was advertised as being reconed, so let me go ahead and lift this thing out of here. Oh boy, she is heavy. There you go, there's the cone, beauty. She looks brand new, nice and stiff. And one more time on the back. All right, let's go ahead and install this into an amp. Here she is in all of her glory. This is such a beast of a speaker. I believe this is a 200-watt speaker. Let me take a look at these markings now that I have it in my hands. MW12U16333. Not sure what all of that means, but it's printed on the cone, which again was a replacement. I'm going to go ahead and get my voltmeter on this speaker here to verify that we do have a speaker of 8 or 16 ohms. So let's go ahead and take a look. We are right at 5.4, which close enough to 6, which to me means this is an 8 ohm speaker. And yeah, that should work fine with the amplifier in which I am putting it, which is this PV Encore 65. So this is a 4 ohm load, I believe, coming out of this speaker, this amplifier rather, and that should be fine for the speaker. And if you remember, the last thing we put in here was that Eminence muscle magnet, and it sounded pretty good. Let's just go ahead and refresh our memory and hear what that sounds like real quick, and then we'll get this speaker installed and hear what the big dog sounds like. Okay, here's channel 1 on this PV Encore 65 watts, going into a 40-watt Eminence muscle magnet speaker currently. Here's the clean. Here's that dirty channel. So that's pretty thick sounding. Nice. It's more of a rhythm crunch, not necessarily metal territory. So a good representation of what this amplifier and this 40-watt Eminence speaker can do. Let's go ahead and swap it out for the big dog. So just for comparison's sake, I took the muscle magnet out, and it doesn't look so muscly next to this big bastard, does it? It's kind of half of what the magnet is on this Electro-Voice speaker. The cage is stamped. This one is cast. Big differences, so hopefully that contributes to big differences in the sound. Here we go. All right, we are all set. This speaker is installed and it looks badass. This amp is pretty heavy given that it is a PV amp from the 80s, I think, the early 80s. I've yet to put an actual date to this one, but based on the silver drip face that I have over here, of course. I believe it's an early 80s, but it's pretty heavy unto itself. 65 watts, single 12-inch combo. It's a really versatile little amp, but boy, it's about twice as heavy now. So I haven't played through this thing at all. In fact, let me go ahead and replace my microphone exactly as it was. And by the way, the microphone we are using today is a Sennheiser E906 dynamic microphone being plugged into my Scarlett 18i20. It's a Focusrite interface, one of the ubiquitous red Focusrite audio interfaces, and it's really one of my key pieces of kit here. So one microphone today on one speaker right on the cone, and the guitar that I have is a 1997 Gibson Explorer in kind of this TV black finish, which means that you can kind of see through the grain a little bit. It's not a solid ebony. So this is one of my favorite guitars. I've been playing it quite a bit, and I figured for the big dog, we should go with a big dog guitar. Here we go. So let's go ahead and turn this thing up and hear what it sounds like first in our cleans. Noticeably louder. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn my interface down. Everything has remained the same since we last had it plugged into the muscle magnet. So I'm gonna go ahead and bump that down just because I want to hear the actual difference in volume, but without peaking my audio on the interface. So I'm just gonna bump it down here and hopefully that'll work out. It's noticeably louder. I can't wait to kick it into that dirty channel. So really nice. I don't think we're here to listen to the cleans though. Let's put some dirt in here. So again, this PV Encore is a 2-channel amplifier. It has a clean channel and a dirty channel. I just so happen to have a PV foot switch here controlling the two of them. There you go, one of those. So here's the dirty channel. So that's pretty awesome sounding. I gotta say that sounds way better than that muscle magnet or the Jensen speaker that we tried last time by a mile. And I think it's probably just because those speakers really weren't meant for this style of amplifier. This is starting to approach that high gain territory that PV is really known for. Not quite 5150 territory yet, but they're building up to that. And the 80s hair metal bands are really looking for gear that can crank up the volume and be gigged with time after time after time, and PV was that for sure. So like, no problems. I like that sound. Let's go ahead and just add some pedals to hear what some preamp action sounds like with this speaker instead of just the 2 dirty channels and the clean channel on the PV amp. Really nice chuggy sound there. That's the Boss Super Overdrive SD1, the yellow pedal, one of my favorites. That's kind of my approaching metal territory. If I really want to drive it a little bit, it can chug, but overall it sits right below my true metal-y chuggy sound. So let's hear that one more time. It's a little thrashy, not quite, like I said, bare knuckle metal, but really approaching that. You can drive it hard and get some good, just fast rhythm tones using that pedal. Let's go ahead and hear what the metal zone sounds like with this speaker and this amplifier. That's pretty rowdy, pretty gainy, and interestingly enough, I don't think it upped the volume so much as just the aggression. And that's what I love about this pedal, because I'm looking at the waveform on the DAW, which is Sony Acid 11, if you're wondering, and it's actually smaller than it was with the regular dirty channel on this amplifier. So you think, or at least to me, it feels louder, but it's not. It's just fuller, and I'll bet on playback it sounds fuller and it sounds better. So this speaker is just awesome, and it's not cheap. I looked for one of these under 200 bucks and I just couldn't. So I gave up and I said, you know what? I'll just pay whatever it costs, and I'll just come out and say it. It's right around 250 bucks. You can't find these for less than that, and if you can, then you should probably get them because they sound freaking awesome, or at least this one does. So this is my first and only experience with this speaker, but so far it's made this amplifier come alive. The original speaker in here was a Scorpion, which is the one sitting on top, and here, let me just go ahead and grab it. It's interesting because this is also a cast frame, and it's very reminiscent of the Electro-Voice in that it has burly, angled cast arms and a nice wide flange, but I can pick it up with one hand. So you can see that magnet's about half as large as the one on the Electro-Voice, because I don't think I can pick that up with one hand and just turn it around like that. This one, I don't know, maybe about 15 pounds. I'm bad at guessing weight, but that's the original speaker, and it sounded okay. It sounded cool. If you want to hear what it sounds like, you can go back to that previous video where I swap it for the Jensen and the muscle magnet. But for me, there's just no comparison to that EV. And now it makes me want to swap all of these friggin' speakers out. But let's not get hasty. I have quite a bit invested in Celestion at this point, so let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. But let's go ahead and play this thing a little more. It's super fun. Gibson into EV. so there you go. Let's cap it at that. There we have the EVM12S guitar speaker, 200 watts of fury. We can handle more than that, but this amp has 65 watts and it sounds friggin' awesome. So I'm gonna work this speaker into different cabinets, maybe pair it with some Celestion options, maybe pair it with that muscle magnet that's still sitting on the floor. We'll see. But for now, I'm really stoked to have this speaker in my arsenal, and hopefully if you have any questions about it, I can answer them in the comments below. So feel free to like and subscribe if you like this type of content. That always helps me decide what to make and what to buy, because there's a whole world out there and I want to try it all. So let me know, and hopefully we can catch you on the next one. Thank you and see you then.